Hey folks, Post here. Welcome back to another Poemaster video, and today we're gonna have some fun. And by have some fun, I mean go over a Gamepress article that one of quite a few people tried to link me to check out. And before I get into it, I did glance over it first, so that I know like it's interesting enough to do a video on. But yeah, I did glance over it. Personally, I'd say I'm not a fan of some of the stuff that it wrote. And just keep this in mind, folks. Like, if you guys don't agree or don't really like a lot of this either, um, don't be weird to the author or whatever. I actually know the person who runs Gamepress page. He's a really nice dude, and he's always looking for feedback, criticism, all that stuff to improve the website, all that stuff. So yeah, don't be weird and don't cause me drama again, please. All right, so let's go over this. And so it's a should you poll article on Marnie and Morpeko, which came out, I think, I don't know, has it been a week? Probably like more than a week ago, right? And this article came out, I think, yesterday or something like that. So it's very recent. So it's after Morpeko releases, right? I mean, I do these too, but I usually do them before they release, right? So let's go over it. Let's go over it. So, all right. TLDR, should you pull score a 3 out of 6? I mean, I personally don't suggest like completely just like going like all in on Marnie either. Unless like you're just like a huge Marnie fan, but just because I generally do like the reruns for Pokefair banners better personally. I mean, not personally because I have to summon on all the banners when they first come out because YouTube content, but just for free to play players, I do think it's probably a better strategy just to wait on reruns where they give you like 3% featured rates, right, on like 2 split featured Poke Fairs, and plus like Leon's Master Fairs going on right now, and I do think that's probably a better banner to pull on just because of the insanely high 5-star rates, and you should probably concentrate as many gems as you can on that one so you get to scout points so you don't get screwed over by the 1% rates on Leon, right? Unless you don't have enough gems for scout points on Leon, then yeah, probably don't do that then. But yeah, anyways, let's keep going. Somewhat useful, but arguably an extremely niche tech unit. I disagree with being niche tech unit because I just don't agree with it being like niche at all because Marnie does like a lot of damage, and the crazy part about Marnie is it's not even like, oh, it's like if you take her out of super effective, she's, whatever, right? No, that's not true. Like, even outside like super effective damage, she still like blows like a lot of like units out of the water that are super effective in terms of damage wise, right? And then she also like even if you're comparing it with like the same type damage, like, and she has like 2 type coverage moves, right? There's one dark and electric. Albeit the electric move's not as powerful, but the sync nuke is the most powerful one in the game, so it completely makes up for it, right? Which is pretty crazy. So moving on, that is a rather time consuming to self boost as a standalone striker. I disagree. You could actually get her boosted up relatively quickly, right? You start out with like an aura wheel. If you have at least like all you need is like just as a support to like buff its speed twice, use this trainer move. If you have a crit support, buff crit. If you don't have crit support, just buff your crit again. Try to go for another one if you have like MP or Kindle or whatever, right? But you should probably bring crit support, honestly. So if you bring a crit support, like, you could easily get Marnie maxed out in like 3 turns before your sync, right? Which is basically all the time you need for like 90% of the units of this game to set up, right? Better and cheaper options exist in a supportive capacity. Better and cheaper options exist in a supportive In a supportive capacity, sure, I guess. If you're just referring to like flinch and paralysis with paraflinch, then Volkner, I guess, is better in that category. But like Volkner's damage and Morpeko's damage is like they're nowhere close to comparable, right? And it faces ridiculously strict gem competition in its debut offer. This I agree with, right? You got Leon out there, right, as well. So sure. Expensive standalone 3 out of 5 unit. I don't agree. I don't agree. Like, if you look at Marnie's grid, right? At 1 out of 5, this is what you have at 1 out of 5, right? Which is not much, right? But at 1 out of 2, basically the same as like 1 out of 5. You really don't get much. And then 3 out of 5, what you basically gain, the big three things about 3 out of 5 is you get Static Shock 3 and Inertia and Super Preparation, right? But none of those really, I mean, maybe Super Preparation, but like none of these are like a huge deal in terms of like Marnie's like dark type damage output, which is in my opinion the biggest thing about Marnie, right? Very, very, very fast unit with a 2 gauge spam that hits like an absolute truck, right? So like most of your stuff is at like 1 out of 5 in terms of like just damage output. So I don't think you really need 3 out of 5 for Marnie, honestly. 3 out of 5 is for the Sync Nuke, which is a different story, right? That's a whole other upgrade. But 1 out of 5 Marnie is perfectly fine. Long and convoluted, again, we talked about that, I don't agree. Paraflinch and regenerative sync gauge sync grinder. MP or Kendall. I don't even know what this means. Paraflinch. Yeah, Paraflinch is cool, I guess. But again, like, Volkner is a better Paraflincher. Like, in my opinion, if you're getting Marnie, you're getting Marnie for the damage. You're getting Marnie for the damage. And Marnie is one of the best damaging units in the game. And Marnie, in my opinion, is even better than, like, a lot of units that out-damage her. Which, by the way, there aren't that many units that out-damage her. Just because, like, she's super, super fast. And it's a 2 gauge. So, like, you could easily run her, like, on a lot of, like, dual striker comps, right? Moving on, scoring criteria, what does it do? Marnie Morpeko is a really niche character. Again, don't agree with the niche adjective here. That draws comparison to the likes of Will Zatu and Bianca's Musharna. Yeah, sort of, right? They both got the more stat buffs, the more power the move does in terms of them being stored power in her power chip, right? Yeah, that's true. That gets a small power boost. Okay, I wouldn't categorize an extra 50% damage boost as small, per se. 50% is quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's small, folks. Its most important assets are locked behind the third level of its sync grid. Again, I don't agree. Again, like, this is really, don't get me wrong, this is really, 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 really nice, but, like, you could live without it. Making Morpeko an expensive acquisition. Morpeko can technically get by at 2 out of 5, but at 2 out of 5, I don't think Morpeko gets like anything interesting at 2 out of 5, right? Let's see, this is 1 out of 5. 2 out of 5 you get, okay, you get Power Trip, Move Gauge, Refresh, which is cool, I guess, but it's not like the end all be all, because like you're still super, super fast with speed buffs. It's a 2 gauge anyways. I don't think that's the biggest deal breaker. What else you get 2 out of 5? Thundershock Staggering, and that's basically, like, I mean, no one cares about this stuff. Anything on like the right side of the screen or of the grid, you do not care about. Staggering, again, I don't like using her as like a paraflincher because Volkner is much better, and like her value as a damage dealer is just so much higher. Like, yeah, I don't care. Like, her 2 out of 5 grid is basically the same as 1 out of 5. You just get Move, Gauge, Refresh, and Power Trip, and again, it's not the big deal in the world. Hunger Switch and Aura Wheel, while an interesting gimmick, is horribly inconsistent. I also disagree with that. I mean, like, if you're trying, like, I just don't think you should be using Aura Wheel for damage when you have Power Trip over there, which is just so much, like, better. Right? I mean, sure, like, if it's, like, electric, you can use that, but, like, when it's not electric, you just use, like, Power Trip on the non-electric turns. The base damage is disappointingly mediocre, and with Aura Wheel changing type each hit causes more operational problems than it's worth. Almost had a heart attack seeing disappointingly mediocre. Then I said, it's Aura Wheel. So yeah, I mean, Aura Wheel's damage isn't like terrible, but yeah, it's not like anything crazy either. Let me actually see Aura Wheel damage. Aura Wheel, Aura Wheel. Honestly, Aura Wheel's damage is actually not bad. I might have underestimated Aura Wheel's damage. Aura Wheel's damage is around like Raichu's like discharge damage, like single target discharge damage. That's actually not terrible, honestly. Yeah, but again, it's not anything crazy. Players running Morpeko for Power Trip will find it a disjointed member of the team since it takes pretty darn long to accumulate. I completely disagree. Like, the really great thing about Morpeko is, like, you just plug, you could just throw her into, like, any team, and, like, she could just function, because, again, very fast, 2-gauge move, and her damage is so, like, great that, like, even against, like, non-super effective stage, she's still, like, hitting, like, an absolute truck, right? And it really doesn't, like, unless you're just using, like, a really bad support, but, like, if you're using, like, a solid support for Marnie, if you're using, like, a Sabrina, a Meganium, a Blastoise, right, something like that, or Hilbert, want the Synchro get expanded, like, you're fine, right? You could easily max out your stats that you need to max out, right, on, like, turn 2 or 3, right? Players either have to center the team around Power Trip off Morpeko's mediocre base attack? 330, it's not, what? That's not mediocre, what the heck? Or have a 2-unit core that could shoulder both offensive and defensive burden while Morpeko charges up. Oh, dude, like, you really don't have to. And, like, if it's, like, a dark type unit, you're gonna outdamage them anyway. So, like, maybe it's more so Morpeko shouldering the offensive burden while your other striker charges up. Well, in Hangry Mode, Hangry Mode does boost Power Trip. Hunger Switch makes it wildly inconsistent since it changes mode after every move. Non-boosted Power Trip is still one of the top, like, damaging moves in the game. Like, you don't have to boost Power Trip for Power Trip to, like, be, like, insanely, overpowered in terms of, like, damage. The limitations of this Hunger Switch gimmick also indirectly affect Morpeko's value as a dedicated sweeper. Huh? Morpeko's one of the best damaging units in the game. What are we talking about? Does that mean, like, all, like, are there just, like, no good dedicated sweepers then? Regardless of its form, Morpeko is still classified as an electric-type Pokemon, meaning that it cannot utilize a dark-type sync move to properly challenge Karen and Halloween Hilbert as dark-type strikers. Okay, this is funny. Okay. Morpeko's sync, it is true. It's electric-type. However, if you do the numbers, Morpeko's non-dark-type sync move damage does more than both Halloween Hilbert's and Karen's, like, super effective sync move damage. I don't think it's even close. Let me see. Let's see. Yeah, this isn't even close. This is not close. Dude, you know what? You can add Mightyina's sync move damage with Houndoom's sync move damage. You can add those together, and I don't even think it's like half of Morpeko's sync move damage. It's not even close, man. What are you talking about? Likewise, it faced stiff competition from N as a chief electric type unit. What? Okay, N's Bolt Strike does do more than Morpeko's. It does. N's Bolt Strike does do more damage than Morpeko's Aura Wheel, obviously, right? However, Morpeko's just so much on the sync. Like, one Morpeko's sync does more than. Let's see. Let me make sure these. Oh, one Morpeko sync move does more than 3 Zekrom Bolt Strikes combined, which is basically the amount of Bolt Strikes you get to use before a sync move. So, plus Zekrom, which I do think is a fantastic striker, by the way. Zekrom doing all that damage is also really slow in comparison to Marnie, which is incredibly fast on a 4-gauge move. well, Marnie is doing so much on like a 2-gauge move and just on like a very, very simple, simply set up sync move, right? Anyways, moving on. Yeah, this makes no sense. Players are probably better off exploiting MP Rekindle to turn Morpeko into somewhat decent sync grinder that incapacitates the opposition with paraflinch shenanigans. Yeah, no, okay. Why are you using like one of the top damage dealers in the game just for paraflinch? Come on, like, this is done with the help of a carefully timed snack time, which offers passive health regeneration when used in Morpeko's full belly mode. The MP Rekindle node on Morpeko Synchro actually helps immensely with eliminating its MP cost in Balvilla, allowing the electric rodent to churn through multiple halls. This would apply to longer stages like Full Force Battle as well, but Morpeko's low damage output really means it... What? More low damage output? I don't even think I saw this when I first went over this article. Low damage output. Low damage output. Oh, what? Morpeko, low damage output. Oh my god. Alright, Morpeko has one of the highest damage outputs in the whole game. Like, straight up. What are they talking about, man? Okay, like, I mean, I agree with this. The MP Rekindle thing is pretty nice for Balvilla, but what? Low damage output? What? This is so weird. And this came after Morpeko already came out. Oh my god. How to use it, grid, lucky skills, and comms. Should we go over this? I'll go over it. Why not? The most important nodes for Morpeko lie within the bottom right sector. What? What's the bottom right sector? MP Rekindle, I guess. Which honestly, I don't even think MP Rekindle is like that big of a deal. Like, if you bring like a sport, like, who cares about MP Rekindle, honestly? The most important nodes for Morpeko lie within the bottom right sector in the form of MP Rekindle 2, Snack Time. Snack Time Propulsion? Who the hell cares about Snack Time Propulsion? This is one of the... Who cares? It costs you 10 energy and is completely useless. Like, the only way that you can make Propulsion useful is where you also have like other units on your team that also decrease your sync move countdown enough to like get like a full turn off, or else like, who cares? This is literally useless in like 90% scenarios. What else we got? A Snack Time NPR. I mean, well, you kind of have to go through it to get MP Rekindle, unless you go through speedy entry. I don't know. It's slightly costly though. On the other hand, wait, where were we? Oh, MP Rekindle 2 itself synergizes with Morpeko's low energy cost, moves in Thundershock, and even Power Trip to quick. Why are we using Thundershock, folks? Why are we using Thundershocks? And even Power Trip to quickly restore valuable move points. Snack Time Propulsion, on the other hand, gives Morpeko a decent chance to knock one more turn off these things. Yeah, no, like, unless you're playing co-op, or you have like another unit to like decrease the sync move countdown to get like a full turn, this is useless. These are key to allowing the player to grind both Morpeko's boost and that team's sync move countdown for cheap. What? The last generically important node for a standalone Morpeko lies in the speedy entry, which allows players to start charging with Snack Time without having to first use Aura Wheel. I mean, in some cases, you could use speedy entry, right? There are like niche scenarios where it would be a good pickup, but like, come on, Static Shock's over here, Inertia's over here, Power Trip Move Gauge Refresh is over here, Super Preparation 4 is over here, right? Why are we talking about any of this? Or even like Aura Wheel ramming speed, which I'm not a huge fan of. Like, at least that's still something, right? The first setup focuses us more on amplifying the incapacitation odds of Thundershock through Thundershock Staggering, which synergizes well with Morpeko's Hostile Environment 5 passive skill. This is like, this is true, but like, who cares? Do something, like, use something else to like paraflinch. You need to use it for damage, man. This paraflinch combination helps to enable allies with dirty fighting and or foul fighting. All right, they're obviously talking about Houndoom here, right? However, Marnie does so much more damage than Houndoom with so much less setup. Why would you care about using Marnie to set up Houndoom when you could focus on just getting more damage output from Marnie, which does so much more damage than Houndoom. You could just like drop, honestly, you could like drop Dirty Fighting, Foul Fighting, and just pick up like Dark Pulse power up notes instead, and that would be a much easier thing to run. Also, Nabs Thundershock MGR to officially nullify Morpeko's. Why are we, dude? It has speed buffs. It has 367 speed. It's a 1 gauge move already. It's not that big of a deal. Like, it's nice if you're like just going for this, but I just do not know why they're refusing to like do any damage with Morpeko. This setup focuses on optimizing the damage output of Power Trip, though this does come at the cost of sacrificing snack time propulsion. Who cares about snack time propulsion? Who cares about snack time propulsion? Literally no one cares about snack time propulsion. No one cares about snack time propulsion. Oh my god. This is weird. This is really, really weird. Power Trip. Yes, you definitely want Power Trip move give refresh over snack time propulsion. Players running Morpeko with speed support from the like of Scott and Swanna can opt to drop speedy entry instead for better grid allocation. True, but you also don't need to pick up speed entry in the first place. Anyways, from a supportive disruptive standpoint, Morpeko's Thundershock related attributes make it a fantastic ally to Karen and Mega Houndoom. Or you could just do more damage than Karen Mega Houndoom just by using Marnie Power Trip. They're just refusing to to do damage with Morpeko for some reason. Seeing as it helps activate the ladders during fighting and foul fighting. The pair can also sneak in a few hits. Oh, finally you mentioned Power Trip, but it's like, oh, we can sneak in a few, but like you're mainly just trying to, you're mainly just here to like use Thundershock against the opponent. Damage, who cares about damage, right? In between against foes vulnerable dark type moves. Yeah, we could sneak in a few power. Why don't they phrase it like this? Why don't they phrase it like, Karen and Houndoom is a fantastic ally to Marnie and Morpeko, seeing as it helps activate the ladder's foul fighting, because Houndoom's bite, dirty fighting and foul fighting, because you could run poison and flinch on Houndoom's bite, and then that bite, once you poison and flinch the opponent, that activates. Well, actually, Martin doesn't have the dirty fighting foul fighting, but I don't even know. Or if they're just trying to like do that for disruption. The pair can, and then say something like, the pair can also sneak in a few hits of Dark Pulse in between against foes vulnerable to Dark type moves. Not that you have to sneak them, and you definitely have enough like speed to run them both. But yeah, point being, Power Trip does more damage than Houndoom. This is funny. As a Power Trip abuser, Morpeko appreciates stat support. That's true. That is true. That is true. Finally, a true sentence. I'm kidding. There's a few true sentences here. Statements. Top ally candidates would include Misty and Starmie and Draco Salamence? I really don't know. Like, why would you run these over something like a Skyla, Sabrina, Lyra, Signusuit Blue, like Hilbert once the grid comes out, right? What are you doing? Whose defensive supports don't overlap with Morpeko's own trainer moves. Who cares? Who cares? These boosts also synergize well with Snack Time's regenerative capabilities to make Morpeko harder to eliminate outside of critical AoE. Are they just trying to like... So far from reading this article, their perception of Morpeko as a unit is it's a paraflinch unit that sometimes gives you some completely useless things, unless you like activate like the same move countdown thing like twice, 3 times in a row, and also is here to take some hits. Of the duo, Starmie deserves special mention alongside disruptive Morpeko set. Foes facing Marnie Misty not only have to fight through the paraflinch, but also, dude, they're literally running like Marnie as like some like stall unit. They're running Marnie as like some weird like stall unit. Regenerating Doom, of course. Players could also run it with the likes of Hilbert and Samurott. See, that's okay. There you go. That's much better. Hilbert and Samurott to speed up the boost. Okay, finally something good. Accumulation process, though it isn't as optimal. Okay. Man, I don't even know what to say anymore. This is, you see, this is funny. This is funny. This is very funny. In terms of lucky skills, Morpeko actually does well with multiple options, albeit having varying levels of success. Standalone sets appreciate Stoic. They really want to turn Marnie into like some weird like stall unit, which I mean it can, but like, why is stall like Marnie could literally like you guys saw the video before, right? With the right parameters, she one shot a 1.5k master mode like mid, literally one shot. Like, why are you stalling me? You just like just cream opponent units with your like incredibly like high damage, right? Otherwise, players could pick between Cruel Strike, Powerful Flux, or Defense Crush. Cruel Strike is a standard fare for any damage dealer who can land crits consistently. However, Morpeko's low energy cost sees it perform well with Power Flux. Huh? 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 I mean, well, yeah, it does bypass Vigilance, but it doesn't get applied to the Sync move, which is very, very powerful, by the way. Strongest Sync move in the game, while you're not trying to get crit to apply to it. Lastly, Defense Crush is a decent shout, even if Morpeko lacks cheap AoE option. Power Trip benefits from Deuce defense, while physical allies also appreciate the support. Sure. I still think Crit Strike's better, though. Anyways, moving on. Is it worth pulling? Morpeko is decent at what it does, offering a usable blend of existing strategies, only to be let down by its mediocre base stats? What stat is mediocre? Tell me which stat is bad. Which stat is mediocre? You have top tier speed, 367 speed, very, very good HP, right? 620 HP, pretty good attack, 338 attack, and, you know, solid defenses for a non-tank. Oh, you know what? I know why they saying it's mediocre. I know why it's saying it's mediocre. It's mediocre because they're trying to run Tank Marnie. These defenses aren't good enough for Tank Marnie. Oh god, this is the best. And difficulty in operating with hunger. It's not that difficult. I'll just keep doing damage. Its reliance on a second duplicate. No, 2 out of 5 is really bad. No one cares about 2 out of 5. It's basically the same as 1 out of 5. Expensive acquisition, which is a luxury in her initial release. She put against a bunch more pressing units like Gloria, Leon, and Diana. Okay, I don't know if she's better than Leon, but like, come on, she's easily better than the other two. Fortunately, she's definitely above the gimmick. Oh, thank God. Oh, they finally give her some credit that she's above the gimmick category. So players who do get her to 3 out of 5 can actually use her to some level of success. Overall, less affluent players are not encouraged to ignore this banner, at least in its debut offering. The other Pokefair banners in this time period generally offer better value. Okay, I don't agree that other Pokefairs in this time period offer better value. If you say like Master Fair, sure. I do think the Leon banner is probably a better banner value-wise, but like, come on. Anyways, like, and I love Gloria. I actually think Gloria's slightly underrated, but like, Gloria's big thing is that she's a fantastic dual unit to run in Dual Striker. Really, really fast. Has a lot of move gauge refreshes, right? But it's still like a 4 gauge move in comparison to like Marnie's 2 gauge move, and Marnie does more damage. So I don't even know. This is weird. Well, there you go, folks. Really, really funny article. Shout outs to the folks in my Discord who linked me this. I had a good laugh out of it. At the same time, I also want to tear my hair out. But yeah, anyways, don't be weird to the author, all that stuff. Yeah, if you have any criticisms, that's fair, right? You just leave it. Again, like I mentioned before, Gamepress folks, they really, really value criticism, all that stuff, feedback. So that's always nice to have. But like, don't be weird. To go after them again. They're just people who probably like the game a lot and are trying to contribute, even though in my opinion I don't think this is again, it's just my opinion, right? I don't agree with a lot of what this article says. So anyways, that's for this one, I guess. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know guys in the comments down below. Like this video, so we're gonna have some more fun content. See you guys in the next one.